Hey everybody, back with one of my favorite shows of the week, the Cabral HouseCalls, our first house call of the weekend where we answer 5 to 6 questions from our community. Love being able to see what the community has for questions, like what they're actually thinking about, what they're asking. All of these questions are unedited by myself or my team. You can read them for yourself at stephencabral.com/3109. That is today's show notes page. Feel free to read along. If anything, by the way, is too non-YouTube friendly, we will always keep it on the show notes page, but we might need to bleep out whatever the powers that be do not allow us to say. Now, again, I will never placate to big tech or big pharma, etc. But if they shut down all of our means of communication, nobody ever hears the message. So it's this weird little dance that we're playing with when we say the word cancer or we say another nutritional supplement, which you're no longer allowed to say that. I can't even say. So having said that, I haven't read any of the questions. I don't do any prep work. What I love to be able to do is give you my raw answer based on if you and I bumped into each other at, let's say, this October's Reimagining Health Summit, or at a coffee shop, right? Like I meet people all the time in public and, we're always chatting. This is just asking your question. And without me going and researching all of these different things, I want to give you my answer as to what the underlying root cause may be. No medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical cures, medical diagnosis, but hopefully something even better. And that is a true underlying root cause so that you can fix it. All right, let's get started. Open up the document. Thank you again to my team. Amazing work putting all these questions together. Let's see. Anonymous says, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. I recently discovered feta cheese, and I love it. I guess I have some Mediterranean lineage. Wink. What's your viewpoint on feta Greek cheese from grass-fed and grass-finished sheep and goats? Ideally unpasteurized, but would like to hear your opinion on pasteurized as well. Something we can eat on a regular basis. I hope it's a yes, LOL, or does it fit better into a flex meal? Thanks for your work that you do. Wishing you a fantastic day." Wish you a fantastic day as well, Anonymous. So here's the thing. I don't have an issue with a small amount of goats or sheep-based cheese. I really don't. It is not a high food sensitivity. Typically, cow's milk is. But great to run a food sensitivity test just to see if you do have a delayed response from an IgG immunoglobulin reaction to food sensitivity, to sheep or goats-based milk. And if you don't, I really don't have an issue with it. Now, do you want to overdo it? No. But like a small palm size amount of cheese a few days a week, no issue. Now, when people love something, they want to eat it every day. I get it. But probably not every day. All right, Anonymous? Like I'm not recommending that you eat cheese every day. Can some people get away with it? Yes, they can on a hypocaloric diet and et cetera, et cetera. But I would say you'll even enjoy it more if you had it 2 to 3 times a week maximum with a salad, or if I've been to Greece as well. I love, my background's Mediterranean. And, when you cut up the heirloom tomatoes and the cucumbers and the onions and the feta, and you mix a little bit of olive oil and other spices. My daughters love that. It's delicious, and I really don't have an issue with it. Now, having said that, my wife will make that probably once a week maximum, and it's a nice food. It's a fun food. So there you have it. But again, just can't be sensitive to those particular milks, right? All right, Heather's up next. "Hi, Dr. Cabral. I purchased the OS-01 face and OSI eye products based on your recommendation. Upon receipt, I scanned them into the Yuka app, which deciphers product labels and analyzes the health impact of food products and cosmetics. After scanning both items, the Yuka app rates them both as poor, which surprised me. The app shows that both include phenoxyethanol, which is used in cosmetics as a preservative, prevent growth of microorganisms. Yes, it prevents a gram-negative bacteria. Yes, that's what it does. Prevents bacterial overgrowth. It states that has a moderate risk for us since it's a potential endocrine disruptor, potential allergen, potential skin irritant. Can you share your thoughts on this? Also, I read research that states the GHK-CU peptide is also great for anti-aging. Can you share how the OS-01 and GHK-CU peptides compare? Okay, yes. They work in completely different ways. Let's start with that. GHK copper, CU stands for copper, can be fantastic as well. I have a little bit of a worry that it could raise copper levels, but I don't know that yet. And actually, that might be one that I test out. I keep telling myself that I'm going to start to work on my skin and I'm really going to take it seriously, and then I never do. And I want to. It's kind of like that one more thing. We all have that one more thing. So what do? I do use the OS-01. And I do like that. Here's my thoughts on it, though. So I know exactly what you're talking about. And it's, what's the name of the company? OneSkin, sorry. OneSkin and the EU have a policy of using less than 1% of that product, of that ingredient in their product. So you're getting a tiny amount that does not allow then bacteria to grow inside of the product. That's basically why they use it. As a skin irritant and allergen, it's typically, when used by itself, larger amount, because these things exist outside of just a cosmetic, right? And it can cause hives and a skin irritation. Okay. The endocrine disruptor, when used in large amounts, I have not even seen that as even a worry at all, to be honest, or I wouldn't recommend a product like that. And I also spoke with Carolina, I believe, who's one of the founders, PhD, her and the other ladies, and they do great work. They do great research. But again, I also don't want people to feel like they need to use the product. If they want to use the product, they can. If they want to use a different product, they're welcome to do that. I feel comfortable with it. And so that's why I wanted to share it with you. There are a lot of issues with even like some natural products. Like we need to be careful getting essential oils near our eyes, or they become a skin irritant. So it will say that on like a tea tree oil as well. So here's the thing though, bottom line, always do what you feel is right for you. And I'm not going to discount anything that you wrote or anything you said. So if you don't feel comfortable, totally get it. Look at the other ingredients for the GHK as well, and then you might find the best product for you. So yeah, that's honestly my honest opinion. Hopefully that's helpful. All right, Angie's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. Thank you for all the work that you do. I'm forever grateful. My sex hormone binding globulin has been high for years. No doctor could tell me what I can do to lower it. Because of this, my free testosterone has been super low. I've had no sex drive for years and overall feel no zest for life. For the last few years, my testosterone has been around 20 to 25. My sex hormone binding globulin around 185 to 215. My free testosterone has been consistently a 0.1. A functional medicine doc had me using stinging nettle twice a day for 3 months and it didn't help. My primary doc told me to use zinc and strength train more, and the number came down a little bit, but not much. Maybe I just have to continue with the zinc longer. I do a quarterly detox, did a limited yeast protocol. I'm active and healthy. Okay, yeah, totally get it. Happy to help with this. So here's the thing. The zinc they told you to use, not a bad idea. We use a product called Daily Testosterone Support. Will be called in the future Daily Male Support, and that is because Shopify and other checkouts literally can now dictate what you call a product, which is crazy. So even though the ingredients in Daily Testosterone Support help support testosterone, you can't call it that, even if you have the scientific studies to back it up. Again, you can't argue with these people because then they just take your account away. It's the wildest thing. It really is. It's like, okay, well, free speech, that's gone. And I understand, like, you can't just make wild claims, but we're not making wild claims. Anyways, zinc is one of the ingredients in there. Yes, zinc can help boost testosterone, but it's not the only thing. Okay. And then another doctor gave you stinging nettles. Another great suggestion. Can help with sex hormone binding globulin. But none of them are looking at the underlying root cause. It can be a lack of zinc, yes, but it's never a lack of stinging nettles, even though stinging nettles is a great product. It's in Hispro. We use it a lot for inflammation, allergies, hives, etc. All right. So underlying root cause of higher levels of sex hormone binding globulin are poor sleep, poor deep sleep, mainly, not just REM, but deep. Okay, so that's one. Going to bed at the wrong time. 10 to 6 are the ideal hours. 9:30 to 5:30. You want enough sleep. That's really important. And then quality sleep. All right. Next part is overtraining, over-exercise. That's another. High levels of stress and emotional stress. Increase sex hormone binding globulin, decrease testosterone. Heavy metals create inflammation, can lower testosterone as well. So those are a few of the underlying root causes. You may have run some labs. I recommend running the Big Five, or at the very least, what I recommend for you, I'd recommend the starter kit, which is called the vitamin tox test, plus the stress, mood, and metabolism test. That's what I'd recommend if you're not going to do the big 5. All right. Hopefully that's helpful, Angie. All right. Anonymous is up next. I want to start by saying thank you so much for all that you do. You really are a blessing to all of us for all the help you provide. Thank you, Anonymous. Appreciate that. The other day I heard on your weekend podcast, you answered the question of if herpes can be cured. And you said yes. Hearing your response made me very worried and upset that some listeners may not understand the nuances and may misinterpret your answer. While you may get to a point of remission, no symptomatic outbreaks, it's very important to be aware that you still have the herpes virus and are capable of passing it on to others, as it is a latent virus, so it lives in your body forever. You can still asymptomatically shed viral load, and you are legally and ethically required to still disclose this to future intimate partners prior to a physical contact. This is very important to note because there is no reliable way of testing to see if you are shedding viral load asymptomatically or not, and people are entitled to know if they are at risk of facing what they are facing, especially since this can be a life-changing diagnosis. For example, I caught this from someone that was shedding asymptomatically, even with protection, and it really almost ruined my life and severely impacted my mental health. So in conclusion, whether or not you stop having outbreaks, you must still disclose this to any intimate partner or partners. Okay, Anonymous, I think that this is fair, totally fair. Yeah, and that's why, again, I want to hear from the community. And what I said was true, and what you said is true, right? It's hard to give, I'm not talking for a typical 2 to 3 hours I would on a particular topic, like in the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute, right? Like I only get to talk for 2 to 3 minutes to answer a question. So while yes, you can put Epstein-Barr virus like I've done, and others have put herpes in remission, it can still live inside of the body forever, but be dormant. So that's basically how it's cured. So okay, I don't have Epstein-Barr virus. I don't have rheumatoid arthritis. I don't have all these things, but they're there, but they're not there, right? But you're right. You can pass on these viruses if the person's immune system has, let's use the word faltered, is not as strong, and they're under the surface, yet it's asymptomatic. So you have herpes, you have cold sores. Just because you don't have a cold sore doesn't mean you may not have a high level of the herpes virus and be able to pass it on at that moment. Now, it's not, you may or may not pass it on to the person. One, your viral load has to be a little higher. The virus has to be more replicated inside your body. The other person's immune system has to be a little bit down, more susceptible. Some people not as susceptible, right? Some people are. So I think it's totally fair. I think it's totally fair that you're asking people to share with their partners if they've ever had herpes and that it is possible that they could be an asymptomatic carrier. I think that's fair. All right. Thanks for writing in, Anonymous. Appreciate you. We've got one more question for the day. It is from Raina. Raina says, hi, Dr. Cabral. What factors commonly trigger awakenings during the latter half of your sleep cycle? I typically go to bed around 9:30 p.m. and experience good sleep until 3 or 4 a.m. However, at that time, I seem to wake up every half hour for the rest of the night. It disrupts my sleep quality, as is reflected by the consistently red restfulness reading on my Oura Ring. It's important to note that I mainly maintain a regular sleep schedule, even on the weekends, avoiding eating close to bed 4 or 5 hours before sleep, and ensure that my sleeping environment is dark and cool. I would really appreciate any insights you might have on potential causes. Thank you so much, Raina. Okay, so Raina, happy to help. I know nothing about you and know nothing about your constitution, all these different things. Could you be dipping into low blood sugar at that time? Could you be dipping into a rise in cortisol at that time? What does your REM sleep look like? If your REM sleep is low, I think you might have issues with that time of the night where REM sleep is trying to sort the mental stresses and anxiety potentially of the days, because we see that. So we see it in both ways. I have a podcast. If your REM is above 2.5, 3 hours, could have a lot of stress, body's working overtime to basically file everything away. If it's below an hour and a half, really below 2 hours, you might be, yes, less restful, more stressed. Okay, here's what we recommend. If it's blood sugar, temporarily, we may need to eat a little something, not blood sugar spiking, closer to bed, right? Just to make sure blood sugar levels are balanced. All right. Number 2, if it is higher levels of cortisol and stress, we use adrenal soothe at dinner, full spectrum magnesium at dinner, before bed, either sleep help support and or liquid melatonin. Some people do a little extra calming magnesium. That's the stack. Works incredibly well. You don't use it forever. Use it for, 6 to 12 weeks. Begin to wean off. And what else can I share with you? Decrease the blue light, decrease the stress. You probably listened already to my 3-2-1 sleep formula podcast, but if you haven't, that's free. You can ask at cabralsupportgroup.com where it is. If you can't find a podcast, you can just do that by, again, going to cabralsupportgroup.com. You can search podcasts at stephencabral.com/podcasts. Let's see what else. What else can I give you? Could be a thyroid-based issue at that time of the night. Could be a detox just a little bit earlier, typically. But I think you've already said you've done your detoxes. So if you really want to know, I would run, if you only one run lab, if you only run one, I would run the stress, mood, and metabolism test. That's what I would run. And you can find that at stephencabral.com/hormones-test, or just stephencabral.com/shop takes you over to Equalife. That's where we have our full practice. And you can see everything right there. Because ideally you run the big 5, but if you can't, run the stress, mood, and metabolism as the number 1. And we'll get you a personalized plan as well. So happy to do that. Integrative Health Practitioner Level 2s can help you with that as well. We'll figure this out. This is figure outable. That's for sure. So thank you, Raina, for writing in. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate your support of the Cabral concept. I'll be back tomorrow answering more of our community's questions. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.